Welcome on back to the 4th and 30 podcast, you turkeys. Glad to have you here again with us this week. Somebody's off screen right now, but I think he'll join us shortly. We have some NFL talk for you, but first, I want you to hit that subscribe button. We want to see that subscribe button just get smashed on some of these videos. If you don't like us on
What's
Facebook,
up? Are we live yet?
Do that. He is ready to drill some things. He's ready to drill down on these topics we got, so let's hit started, all right? So we're going to cover the Eastern divisions in the NFL, AFC East and NFC East, just kind of what some of our predictions are and who we think some of the better players are in those divisions as well. So going to start in the AFC East and going to start out everybody's favorite position, quarterback position. Kelsey, who do you think is the best quarterback in the AFC East?
I think this is a pretty easy one. I think we'll all probably agree with this. Josh Allen, best quarterback in the AFC East, probably a top 3 to 5 quarterback in the NFL right now. Tua, not impressed with Tua. I don't even know who the quarterback is in New England right this second. They're saying Cam Newton. I don't think anybody's impressed with what Cam did last year. And then obviously the rookie starting in New York. I don't think there's much competition. Josh Allen is by far the best quarterback in this division, in my opinion.
Yep, he is. And even if Cam gets 50% better this year, like I think with a year under Belichick's system, I think he'll be better this year than it's going to be hard to be much worse than he was last year. I think Cam will be better. But Josh Allen still, even if Cam gets substantially better than last year, Josh is still better. Josh Allen is a guy. I think Zach Wilson can be all right. But we'll just have to see. He doesn't have much around him to help him out. So, yeah, I agree with Kelsey. Josh Allen's the man there.
Yeah, there's no real argument here on who's the best. The real argument was who would be the second best quarterback in this division, because obviously Josh Allen's clearing in a very weak quarterback division. Second best quarterback may not even be starting week 1. It could be Mac Jones. That remains to be seen. It could be Zach Wilson. But I think right now you'd put all the other quarterbacks in the Dookie Buns territory, including Tua.
Dog water.
I don't know what all the hype was about Tua last year. I don't think he was that impressive. For a while, he didn't turn the ball over. He did a good job of that, but that's about it. And so Josh Allen clearing away. It'll be interesting to see who steps up as the second best quarterback in this division. Maybe someone emerges. Hopefully someone does to give the Bills a run for their money. But as it stands at this point, it's no contest.
Even on top of that, or obviously we're going to get more into the weapons here soon, but what do the other quarterbacks even have to work with? Josh Allen, like Cam Newton, there's no weapons in New England. Miami, no weapons or Tua, no weapons in Miami. I guess you can Devontae Parker. Is he even still in Miami?
Yeah, Devontae Parker.
Yeah, Devontae Parker's still in Miami. That's...
Well, Tua also has Jalen Waddle coming in to the fold, who is a weapon.
Yeah, he will be a weapon for him.
Carl, are you with Josh Allen too?
Yeah, Josh Allen is by far and away. So the second best quarterback, we talked about this in the group chat a little bit. Is it Mac Jones or is it Zach Wilson? So, that brings into the argument Cam Newton. So there was a time in this league, Cam Newton used to be an MVP and all that. And we talked about is Cam Newton's personality, is that detrimental to your locker room? So obviously it's best case scenario for a rookie to come into the league and sit behind a veteran quarterback that kind of knows what he's doing, shows him how to watch film, all that stuff to get the speed of the NFL going, right? Well, is Cam Newton the best person for that job? Sure, New England's got a very solid coaching staff, and could probably head some of that off, but, he's going to be standoffish, I feel like, towards Mac Jones, and that might hurt Mac a little bit. But, he's probably got a good head on his shoulders, so I would assume that'll be okay. I definitely think Mac Jones is in a better situation than Zach Wilson is in New York.
Oh, Zach Wilson's being thrown to the fire with no weapons, nothing to help him. It doesn't get much worse than that. I don't have anything against Zach Wilson. I hope he succeeds, but it's going to be real hard to succeed in that scenario.
So
Yep.
the thing about Mac Jones is I think Belichick's smart enough that Cam Newton's not the mentor for him. I think Belichick takes him under his wing himself because they're completely two different guys. Cam Newton got away with talent. He probably wasn't in the film room any more than most quarterbacks. He got away with talent. Mac Jones is not going to get away with just talent. He's going to have to take a page out of Tom Brady's book. So I think Belichick's a smart enough guy to figure that out, though. I just don't see Cam Newton being his mentor.
Well, we're going to move on to wide receiver in the AFC East. Pretty sure this one has a pretty cut and dry number one, but there is some arguments you can kind of make here or there.
Number one receiver in this division is at this point is Stephon Diggs. Not a lot of argument to be made. I don't think there. Patriots really don't have anybody that's emerged. Jets don't really have anybody that's emerged. The Dolphins, Devontae Parker plays about 8 games a year, if that. So it's definitely Stephon Diggs, but I am pretty high on Jalen Waddle, and I'm interested to see where he goes and if Tua can get him the ball enough. That dude's going to be, he's as talented as anybody, but so is Stephon Diggs. And Diggs had a breakout party last year. I expect that to continue.
Yeah, Diggs has gotten even better in Buffalo than he already was in Minnesota, which is pretty impressive because he was pretty darn good in Minnesota. He's definitely right now the best wide receiver. I'm pretty high on Parker. I don't think he has a quarterback throwing to him good enough to put up numbers to rival Diggs. So that's why it's clearing away Diggs to me. And then Jalen Waddle's obviously very, very talented. Once again, he has Tua throwing to him. So who knows how good he'll be. His potential is through the roof to be, a top tier wide receiver, but I have to see.
Yeah, I think this is pretty easy, like you guys said. Diggs is by far the best wide receiver in this division. And I mean, to be completely honest, by how it went last year, the Bills might have the second best receiver in this division with Cole Beasley. I'm not a huge Cole Beasley guy, but I just don't think there's a lot of. He was all pro last year. I don't think there's a lot of competition in this division. Unless, like Kyler said, a rookie comes in and takes the league by storm. The Bills could have 2,000-yard receivers if Beasley plays. I mean, he doesn't want to get the vaccine. He does not. Who knows if he'll even play this year? He's talked about retirement at one point this offseason, so who knows about that? But I think potentially the Bills might have the two best receivers in this division. Honestly,
Mark Cuban offered his wife stock to get the vaccine. Did you guys see that?
I did see
didn't
that
see
the other
that.
day.
Yeah, because he was talking about the financial benefits of people that are selling the vaccine and stuff. And Mark Cuban was like, "How about this? I'll buy you some stock in Pfizer or whatever it was."
Pretty funny.
Mark Cuban's such a goat owner though. Like that dude's not afraid to speak up. I enjoy Mark Cuban, man. He's so
Yeah.
fun.
He's definitely on his own level.
He's like the new age. He's a better Jerry Jones. Like he's just involved in his organization as Jerry Jones is, but he's not a complete dipshit like Jerry Jones is. Like he's just more fun as a person.
Yep.
Anyway, Stephon Diggs is the answer to
We
that
just
question.
went from Bills
Moving
to
on.
Cole Beasley to Mark Cuban to Jerry Jones to shitting on the Cowboys organization. That thing almost came full circle, and I love it because anytime anything ends up shitting on the Cowboys, I love it.
You're never more than 4 moves from shitting on the Cowboys. All right, so we'll move on to. We'll save defense for last, and we'll do what is a pretty piss poor running back division as well. So we've mentioned it's not a strong quarterback division, not a strong wide receiver division. Same goes with the running backs. Not a strong running back division either. So I think the consensus, it's not a consensus, but I think one way people will lean is Damian Harris with the Patriots. So, he was I think the leading rusher in the AFC East last year, and he missed 6 games with a hand injury. So, but since he plays for the Patriots, they do that running back by committee. So it's kind of devalues that a little bit. You'd never know who's going to come out on top of that, but I think he's got the best shot.
I'm gonna go.
Yeah, I mean, we had to have started with probably the worst division in the. I mean, we're going to talk about the NFC East today as well, and as far as players go, they stand out above this division. But yeah, my pick would be Damian Harris. I mean, like you said, he missed some time, and he's in a running back by committee approach, but he actually took that job last year from those other guys. He took carries away from him. Damian Harris wasn't expected to be their guy at the beginning of the year, and he outperformed everybody in that division. I think he averaged like 5 yards a carry. Put together a real solid streak until he got hurt. So as far as performance-wise, he was definitely the best. I mean, you have Devin Singletary in Buffalo, who's been okay, but he hasn't really, solidified that they don't need another running back. He's been decent, but I still think the Bills could upgrade at running back. So
Yeah.
Damian Harris would be my pick.
Yeah, Damian Harris is probably the most talented, or not probably, I think he's the most talented running back in the division. But like you guys just mentioned, the running back by committee in New England, he probably is not going to have the fantasy numbers that Devin Singletary would probably have, because Singletary is going to get more carries, I would say. But I mentioned this earlier, I think Josh Allen's the best running back in the AFC East. He was the second leading rusher on the Bills last year with far less carries than Singletary. But obviously, quarterback, he's not gonna. And if they're gonna start to protect him a little bit more, he's not gonna have as many carries. But yeah, you could go with either one of those guys in New England or Buffalo.
So one thing I do want to say before I talk about the running backs is we forgot all about Emmanuel Sanders going to Buffalo. They do have the two best receivers in the division probably, and Emmanuel Sanders is probably number 2. They might have the 3 best receivers in the division. I don't know. Just shows you how weak the rest of the division is.
Emmanuel Sanders couldn't hold Jalen Waddle's jockstrap at this stage of his career. He looked terrible last year.
Jalen Waddle's played well. Drew Brees looked terrible last year, but let's not get into that. Anyways, the best running back in this division, in my opinion, Singletary. I think definitely will put up the best numbers. Like you guys said, Damian Harris is a very talented young running back. And honestly, he might be the most talented in the division, kind of like Cody said. But I think being in the Bills' offense will benefit Singletary. If you're looking fantasy-wise, I wouldn't look for anyone in this division. But Singletary will probably put up the best numbers, in my opinion.
All right, then what defense is Singletary going to be running into that's going to be the hardest for him? Who has the best defense in the AFC East?
I still think the Dolphins have the best defense in the AFC East. I mean, it's obviously going to come down to if they trade Howard or not. I don't know what the asking price will be for him. He's as good as a young corner as there is, so I mean, you expect it to be pretty high. Right now, I would definitely say the Dolphins are the best. I have a feeling I know where you guys are going with this, but
yeah, it's a toss-up between the Patriots and the Dolphins for me. If Howard plays, I'd probably lean towards the Dolphins. But I think the Patriots are very, very talented. Bill Belichick is a known defensive coach, one of the best ever. I believe I've seen that eye roll before when mentioning this exact sentence. But it's really a toss-up. The Bills are just okay on defense. Jets are pretty bad. So once again, we're talking about a pretty, on average, a pretty bad division. I would put the Dolphins and the Patriots both up there when it comes to NFL wide, but the other two are pretty bad. So I'm gonna say Patriots just because I don't think Howard will play for the Dolphins, but
yeah, so to go back to Kelsey's eye roll there, I just do want to point some things out, right? So Kelsey, go ahead and throw out your stat of what his win-loss is without Tom Brady.
I actually don't have it here. I had it yesterday.
Okay, it's under 500, as Kelsey likes to point out.
It was like 58 and 68 or something like that.
So
I just the years he coached the Browns, though.
I just want people to understand that is with the Browns. Historically, a very bad franchise.
Hold on.
And
Hold on. Okay, you can finish.
And so when you go to all of his games without Tom Brady with the Patriots, sure, you have last season where half of his defensive starters set out. And then in between there, you have games where your QB1 wasn't playing, where Tom Brady wasn't playing. And in the middle of a season, 1 week here, 1 week there, you can't just replace that. So if you lose that game.
So, let's just start with this. Bill Belichick's second year in New England, he went 11-5, and the quarterback was Tom Brady. His first year in New England, they signed a 10-year deal with Drew Bledsoe coming into that season, was supposed to be the face of the franchise. They went 5-11. The difference in Bill Belichick's career and being an average coach and in maybe historically the greatest coach of all time is the Tom Brady. It's really not like you can throw everything you want out about how guy got injured, but the fact is,
you're forgetting
night and day from when he has Brady and when he doesn't have Brady.
You're forgetting how good their defense has been over all these Tom Brady years. You're forgetting that
their defense has been good, but how do you argue that you guys are just saying, well, Belichick's great, but everything points to that the difference was when Tom Brady was there, and even when you say his first year in New England, they were basically the exact same team. You can go look at the rosters. I've done it before. They're almost the exact same team. They're 5-11 when Bledsoe, who was a very good quarterback at the time, started, and they're 11-5 when Brady started, and that was his first year starting in the league.
So here's a fun one that I saw this week. Kurt Warner has thrown 6 touchdowns in the Super Bowl, right? His total yards of touchdown throws is higher than all of Brady's combined because Brady had the benefit of being able to chew clock and just march down the field because that defense is 3 and out.
Brady's thrown for almost 4,000 yards in the Super Bowl.
I'm talking touchdown passes.
That's great. So Warner's had a couple longer touchdown passes. Brady has thrown for almost 4,000
because Brady has got to be on the field for 75% of the game because the Patriots defense just kicks anybody off.
So
they were down 28-3 against the Falcons and came back and won.
And how many points did the Falcons score this whole second half?
It was 28-3.
It was 27-3.
It was 28-3, and
whatever.
The Patriots came back and won.
You can dump on Bill Belichick all you want, but the truth of the matter is, Belichick ran the defense, Brady ran the offense, and there's no discounting how great of a defensive coach Bill Belichick is. And here's why, back to the original question, why the Patriots defense will be better than the Dolphins this year. Because they signed Matthew Judon. They signed Davon Godchow from the Dolphins. They also signed Kyle Van Noy from the Dolphins. So the Patriots and Dolphins were pretty even last year as far as defense goes. I think the Patriots gave up 8 more points. Patriots defense will be the best defense in this division this year. And Bill Belichick will remind people like you, Kelsey, of why he's such a great coach when they get a wild card.
Oh, yeah, by the way, Brady goes to Tampa Bay, takes a team that didn't make the playoffs to the Super Bowl and wins Super Bowl. Okay, anyway.
Barely makes the playoffs, but yeah, that's,
Barely made the playoffs.
And had
barely made the playoffs.
They were 11-5.
And there's one of the best defenses in the league behind him.
There's no one in here doubting Brady's greatness. But that run game that the Bucs had in the playoffs, does that not help the quarterback?
All right, I give up.
Brady's a great
leader. There's always a reason why it wasn't Brady, even though everything changes when it's Brady.
You're discounting Bill Belichick. No one in here is discounting
Tom Brady. You know what's really funny? A few months ago, you guys were telling me about how great Brady was, and I was the one who was bringing guys back down to reality. I was like, hey, this, and this. Now you guys are talking.
I never would have been on that side of the spectrum of you, ever.
Okay, Kels, is Michael Jordan a GOAT player? Not the GOAT, a GOAT.
Yeah.
Is Kobe Bryant a GOAT?
Yeah.
Is Phil Jackson a GOAT?
Yeah.
You can be both. You can have both. You don't Phil Jackson is still a great coach without Kobe or without Jordan. Jordan is still a GOAT without Phil Jackson. I mean, he was almost 50 years old balling out in Washington.
You know what the difference is? Phil Jackson doesn't have an under 500 record without Jordan and Kobe.
Because he never played without, or he never had without Jordan
Exactly.
and Kobe.
So
Other
we
than
don't have that. You don't have it at your disposal. You didn't see Kobe go to another team and win a championship right after leaving Phil. You didn't see Phil struggle right before he had Brady, right after he had Brady. There's a big difference.
Belichick deserves some of the credit for their dynasty of 20 years.
I think Belichick definitely deserves credit. I'm tired of hearing everyone act like he's a god amongst coaches.
He's the best coach of the 21st century, and it's not even close.
Name another coach with 6 Super Bowl wins.
There isn't
All right,
one. I
so-
won't deny that. But the
So-
Patriots aren't going to make the playoffs next year because of Belichick.
So we're going to move on to the standings, where we think the standings are going to
I'll
end
write it
up.
down.
And
Your
we'll
board's
create some
behind
sort
you.
of bet. We'll create some sort of bet. Belichick over or under 500 this year. But anyway,
Belichick, don't screw me.
I don't think he gives
there's
a shit about
zero
you.
chance he watches anything on social media or YouTube.
No, we've got
Anyway.
that one random commenter. That's Bill Belichick's burner account.
BillBelichickSleeves.com. Yeah. We're going to move on to the standings in the AFC East real quick. I don't think there's much, turnover in probably the way they ended last year. I do have the Bills winning that, but I do also have a hot take that I don't think you guys are going to agree with. I think the Jets have a little bit of a comeback year. And by that, I mean they're going to win 6 games this year.
With
17-game season.
Zach Wilson's
players
gonna
on the
throw for
field.
8,000 yards.
They don't have Greg Williams anymore, so they're not going to engage 8 on the last play of the game. They have a new head coach. They have a
also
new
won't
quarterback.
get fined for targeting people
So
or suspended.
I think they win 6 games. 6 games, that's fairly low.
What
It's
division?
reasonable.
What NFC division does the AFC East play? Does anybody know?
I really don't know. I need to look that up. Hold on.
I'm pretty sure. Well, the AFC North plays the NFC North. Do the Chiefs play the West Division?
No, we play the East this year.
Yeah, but anyway, I just think they're going to do it. We just talked about how weak this division is, kind of top to bottom, besides the Bills, which means there's
The
people
South,
you can.
the NFC South.
Which means there's people you could take games off of. You get to play Atlanta. You get to play the Saints with their topsy-turvy turmoil. You get to play Carolina, who's one of the worst teams in the league this year. So you're battling out for the toilet bowl. Like,
Yeah, but the
6
Jets
wins?
might be the worst team. Like
6 wins, though, I mean-
or the Panthers are one of the worst. The Jets are probably the worst.
Lions.
Lions, yeah, I forgot I said that a while back. I'm in
all
a,
those teams that play in the
I'm in
South.
Lions
agreement.
will bust some kneecaps, though.
Yeah.
They will do
Patriots might
that.
be the
They
worst.
will
Yeah,
eat your
bite the
kneecaps,
kneecaps.
and then when you punch them down, they will get back up.
Dan
Did you
Campbell,
see that,
baby.
that a brawl broke out today at their training camp, and he said he was fired up about it. He loved it.
There was one breakout at the Giants training camp, and that dude made him run like
Yeah,
till they
because
puked.
Daniel Jones is at the bottom of the pile, so he was pissed.
All right, back to the standings. Bills win this one unless something catastrophic happens. Unless Bill O'Brien somehow gets a spot as the GM in Buffalo. The Bills come out with that. Dolphins and Patriots will be right there. I think the Dolphins are looking at like 10-7, something like that, and a wild card team, and then the Patriots will be right behind them, 9-8, something like that, maybe 10-7 as well, and then right there with them, and then the Jets. Unlike Carl thinks they're gonna, apparently be a Super Bowl team. I think the Jets win
6 wins.
The Jets win 1 to 2 games.
I think the Bills win the division, even though they have to play the toughest schedule. But I do think the Patriots give them a run for their money because Kelsey's talking shit on Bill Belichick. You just don't do that. You don't talk shit on goats because
I don't think me talking
That's-
shit will affect Bill Belichick much.
Yeah, when he
doesn't care.
watches this from BillBelichickSleeves.com,
Bill Belichick
He's
will
gonna be
have something up
motivated.
his sleeve. Their defense is going to be much improved, and I do think he figures something out on offense. I have the Patriots finishing second, slightly above the Dolphins and slightly below the Bills, and then the Jets will win 2 games if they're lucky.
There has to be a troll on every topic, and I'm that on most topics. That's just how it works. You guys take your turns on the few that are left over, and I'm that on most topics. The Bills are by far the best team in this division. It's not close. 13 probably wins. 12, 13 wins.
I can think of 3 trolls on any topic that revolves around Ben Roethlisberger. I'm just going to say that right now.
Well,
There's
no, I can
3.
think of there's one troll. There's
3
3 people that
turkeys,
are
you
pretty
mean?
realistic, and one person who still lives in La La
Uh-huh.
Land.
Uh-huh.
The
We'll
Bills
save
are
that for
12,
another
13,
episode.
19. So I haven't brought this by you guys yet, but I think that we should do something this year where we have power rankings every week because I came up with mine in 5 minutes earlier, and I just looked to see where I had them. I had the Dolphins at 7th in the AFC, so they would be the last wild card. I didn't look at the schedule or anything. I just wrote down who I thought the best teams were. The Patriots were like 10th in the AFC, and the Jets were last in the AFC and second to last in the NFL. So I think it'll be Bills, Dolphins will be the last wild card team. Patriots will be on the outside looking in, and Jets will probably throw in the towel in week 6.
All right. So if the Jets win 6 games, each one of you owes me 1 cold beverage.
I'll buy
If
you
the
a
Jets,
I'll buy you
I'll
a
wear a
Frank
Jets
Gore
jersey on
jersey.
here.
if the
Jets
Jets,
win
if the
6
Jets
games.
don't win 6 games, I owe each one of you a cold beverage.
No,
How about
you owe
that?
us the difference between 6 and how many wins they get. That's how many cold beverages you owe each
Okay.
one of us.
Well, it works
For
the other
that.
way too. If they win 8 games, then
I'll take that bet.
Yeah, you're not getting
Apparently,
If they win more than 6, I'll buy you a case.
apparently it can't be a Anheuser-Busch product either.
they're too busy
Jackasses.
eating Belgian waffles.
Enjoy your waffles, assholes.
All right, NFC East. It's time to shit on the Cowboys some more. Well, we do have a couple players that are probably going to get some praise, but the organization as a whole can go kick rocks. But, so we're going to start out with the defense because it's pretty clear cut who the best defense in the NFC East is. So, Kyler, you want to go ahead and knock one out of the park?
Yeah, I'll give you a hint. It's not the Cowboys and that dumpster fire of a defense. It's the Washington football team, who may become the Washington Generals, or what is it?
Senators.
I don't think they've come up with anything yet.
Oh, that was the
Senators
you're thinking of the Indians.
Cleveland
Oh.
Indians that came up with the name.
Yeah, you're thinking of the Indians.
Yeah,
Guardians.
Guardians.
The Washington football team, maybe I would vote them the number 1 defense in the NFL if the season started today. They're stacked at the line. They've got good linebackers, good DBs. They are my number 1 defense in the NFL, and I think that'll be the reason that they win this division.
Jumping the gun. All right.
Is there anybody even going to disagree with football team being number 1?
No, they were a top 3 defense last year, and they got
And
better.
I would say what's the second best defense, but that's pretty easy as well, because the Cowboys and Eagles don't even field a defense, is what it seems at times. So, not a lot to talk about here.
Not
All
on the
right, so-
defensive side, no.
We're going to move up the list and we're going to go to wide receiver next. I'm going to switch it up a little bit. So, who wants to kick off wide receiver for the NFC East?
Me.
All right.
I know a
Okay.
lot of our friends, or not friends. I don't have any friends that are Cowboys fans because I unfriend them. But a lot of Cowboys people will argue to the death. You know, we them boys, Amari Cooper. It's not. It's Terry McLaurin. He's got a better situation because he's got Fitzmagic throwing to him. The goat of all goats. He's super talented, young, good guy. Amari Cooper is very talented. So for the 3 or 4 games that Dak plays, he'll probably ball out. But Terry McLaurin's better than Dak Prescott, or better than Amari Cooper.
Just real quick, I don't want our audience ever being lied to, and Cody just told a fib. He has an aunt that's a Cowboys fan, so rip in the chat to Cody for saying he has no friends that are Cowboys fans.
Family doesn't count.
Little white lie. Just a little one though.
Amari Cooper is the best receiver in this division. And I'm not a Cowboys fan, but Amari Cooper is the best end receiver in this division. And he's in the best situation.
You heard it here first. He's going to have a Cowboys jersey.
Dak throwing to you is a lot better than
the audacity.
It's
the audacity.
Speaking of 5 games a year, Fitzmagic will have 5 good games a year, and then that'll be all she wrote. The only thing I would say about that is I expect him to be double teamed a lot this year. So CeeDee Lamb, everyone's obsessed with him. He could have a big year, fantasy wise.
Don't you ever take my pick again, Kelsey.
Oh,
Just
I didn't
slid
know
it
that
in
was.
there
I
at the
forgot that was
end.
your pick. I forgot that was your pick.
Butthole.
I
Yeah,
honestly
so
forgot that
CeeDee
was your
Lamb's
pick.
gonna have a hell of a year for the exact same things that Kelsey just mentioned.
I
Kyler,
forgot that was your pick. I'm sorry.
Well, Terry McLaurin and Amari Cooper, best two. Cody said for the 3 to 4 games that Dak plays, Amari Cooper will ball out. Well, I'm going to say for the 3 to 4 games that Amari Cooper plays, he'll ball out because he's on the injured list quite a bit. It's pretty close. I do like Terry McLaurin's on the up and up. Amari Cooper may slowly start to decline a little bit. He's probably got a few years of his prime left, but maybe 2 to 3. But I don't know. It's a tough decision. I don't think you can go wrong with either one of them. I do, however, question Amari Cooper's durability, and so that would lead me to lean towards McLaurin because he's stayed healthy for the most part of his career. And so there you have it. That's my tiebreaker.
I know.
what about Galladay?
Yeah, I know. I was getting ready to say that. I know we mentioned it earlier. Galladay has to be
He has a chance
mentioned.
to be the best.
He has to be mentioned. He's not as talented as those two guys. And then
He also has the worst quarterback thrown to him, even worse than Fitzmagic. I hate Daniel Jones. He's terrible.
he is dog water, 0 earnings, 0 PR. But yeah, the list of Eagles wide receivers is there's a who's who of who's good, like kind of like the Lakers roster is a who's who of current and former NBA greats. Well, the Eagles wide
2011
receiver
basketball stars.
Yeah, the Eagles roster or the Eagles wide receiver depth chart is a who's who of who the hell is that? So,
Yeah, who's who of who are you?
So they will have nobody in the top 5 to 10 of the wide receiver list.
All right, we're going to move on to running back. We're going to save quarterback for last. They've kind of hinted at it a little bit. Some people want to throw some curveballs on that, so we're going to hit running back next. There's a guy that plays running back in the NFC East who's got thighs bigger around than most people's whole body, and that's Saquon Barkley. And Saquon Barkley is that dude. When you show up to train and you're wearing a bow nose shirt, yeah, it's game on. Saquon knows it. He's the best running back in that division, and it is no contest. None.
Yeah, no arguments here. Saquon is the best running back in this division. You have a couple other good running backs in the division, but Saquon is a man amongst boys. If he can stay healthy, he'll be a top 3 back in the league this year. I mean, you got Derrick Henry and Christian McCaffrey, but I honestly think Saquon's as good as either of them, to be honest, if he can stay healthy.
Honestly, this division might have 4 of the top 10 running backs in the NFL. Because Miles Sanders in Philadelphia is no slouch. He's a dang good running back out of Penn State. I would rank him 4th, and that's saying something because Miles Sanders is pretty dang talented if he can stay healthy. He did get hurt a couple times last year. He's not quite as big. Saquon Barkley's the man. He did miss last year, do it in an ACL. We all do hope he can stay healthy for extended part of his career. One ACL surgery isn't going to question his durability, but that remains to be seen. Antonio Gibson last year emerged for Washington and played 100 times better than Ezekiel Elliott did. So Ezekiel Elliott's had the one good year with behind that great line, but ever since then, it's kind of been suspect for him. I know Kelsey's had him in fantasy, been pretty disappointed. So I think I would make the argument that it's Saquon Barkley and then Antonio Gibson, Elliott, Miles Sanders following them up.
Okay. The Saquon is the most talented back in this division, but to crap on Ezekiel Elliott like y'all are is not fair. Saquon averages 4.7 yards per carry. Ezekiel Elliott averages 4.5. Saquon in his 2 healthy years has had 11 TDs and 6 TDs. Ezekiel Elliott has had 15, 7, 6,
Are you
12, and
checking
6.
just rushing or
Yes,
rushing
just
and
rushing.
receiving?
Just rushing.
Okay, well there's a difference there in their receiving abilities.
So Ezekiel Elliott is not. It is not Saquon Barkley God tier, Ezekiel Elliott B tier. Like Ezekiel Elliott, that gap is not that big. Saquon Barkley's the better running back.
No,
But
it is that big because you could run in a touchdown behind the offensive line that the Dallas had there for a while. Like they were one of the greatest offensive lines ever put together. So, yeah, a running back's going to have a damn good day running behind them guys. That's why he bought them all 4-wheelers or whatever the hell it was. He knew. Wasn't it 4-wheelers?
Saquon Barkley, meanwhile, he's running behind the Little Giants offensive line.
Yeah,
So
they've
you
got
can.
yeah, well,
phones
Spike will
coming out
leave
their mouth.
cleat marks up your back if you don't get out of his way.
All right. So, I got a feeling that a couple of you might want to be goobers and talk about somebody else when it comes to quarterbacks in the NFC East. So we'll entertain it, I guess.
Good job of foreshadowing, Carl.
You're welcome. Just letting them know to be disappointed after you come out of this next thing. You know, you gotta give viewers something to kind of feed off of, and sometimes you just need to take a swing down before you can swing back up. So, quarterback, the best quarterback in the NFC East is without a doubt, Dak Prescott.
No
There you
questions
go.
asked.
Brody,
Please
you
go
want
on
to
the
take
rant.
care of my light work?
Yeah.
Please, I want to hear this, guys.
It's the same as every year. The same thing. Fitzmagic gets traded, signed somewhere else, doesn't matter. He comes, he balls out. You say 5 games a year, but he's great. Fitzmagic is a great quarterback, and he gets disrespected so much it's unfair to him. Dak is the best quarterback in this division. But once again, like the Saquon, Ezekiel Elliott talk, he's not that far behind. Fitzmagic is a great quarterback.
So, Dak Prescott, because he threw for 1,800 yards in 5 games last year, they were setting at 2-3. Now all of a sudden he's clearing away the best quarterback in this division. Like
Because there's
before
no
last
other
year,
even good quarterbacks in that division.
before last year, even the Cowboys were questioning whether, and Cowboys fans.
No,
One of my
they were
best friends is a
questioning
great Cowboys
They were
fan,
questioning whether he should
and
get
he
$40
questions if
million.
he's even the franchise quarterback of the Cowboys. They question that.
They were questioning
Now,
if he should get $40 million.
To Dak's defense,
He's the starting quarterback.
yes, they were questioning if he was their franchise quarterback.
If
To
he should
Dak's
get 40
defense, their defense was terrible last year, and he had to air it out. So you can't really blame him for that. And he's a good quarterback, but he's not hands down the guy I would take in this division.
There's a reason that Dak Prescott has only played for one team, and Ryan Fitzpatrick has played for what, 9 now? 10?
No, I think it's more than that.
So, but there's a reason for that. There's a reason that happens. It's because, sure, he can come
Dak
in
got drafted
September.
to the Cowboys.
He can come in
And they
September
are
and
terrible
October
at
and
running
win
their
you some
organization.
games, but when your real starter comes back off of injury, you're going to start him because Ryan Fitzpatrick is not going to get you to the playoffs. Long and short of it.
So Fitzpatrick, are you guys I understand Cody said that Dak's actually the best and Kyler seems to hesitate. Do you even know what Fitzpatrick's best year is? Like
I don't
his
need to
best
know. It's all. I'm an eye test kind of guy.
And he passes
And
the
the eye test has told you that Fitzpatrick's better than Dak?
Fitzmagic has the best personality of any quarterback in the NFC East. I'll give you that hands down. I mean, he had the brown sugar out and the, he has the best personality by a lot.
He's had his moments. So he had 1 year in New York where he threw for 3,900 yards, 31 touchdowns, and 15 interceptions. By far his best season. He does one of his few seasons he's played the whole season. He's been in the league for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 years, and he's played 16 games 3 times. But that was by far his best season, and it wouldn't rank as Dak's. Maybe Dak's been in the league for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years. 1, he was injured, so 4 complete years, and it wouldn't rank as maybe Dak's 4th best season.
Okay.
It's
Okay. Dak's 2019 season is better than any of Fitzpatrick's seasons when it comes to yards. But Fitzpatrick would have number 2 and 3 on that list.
when it comes to yards. Now look at efficiency. He's thrown more interceptions than he has touchdowns half those seasons. You have to look at the whole picture.
Ryan Fitzpatrick is good for a 4 interception game every year.
So, and as far as last year goes, it's not even close. We already talked about this once, but I'll repeat it for you guys on here. Daniel Jones had the most passing yards in the division last year in 14 games, threw for 2,900 yards. Wentz played 11.5, threw for 2,600 yards. Dalton, 9 games, 2,100 yards. Fitzpatrick, last season, played half the season, 8 games, and threw for 2,000 yards. And Dak, in 4 games, threw for 1,800 yards. 200 less yards than Fitzpatrick in half as many games. It's not even a question. Dak is by far the best quarterback in the division.
Couldn't stand the heat in the kitchen, so they got out. If you can't run with the big dogs, you better stay on the porch, buddy.
Well,
I understand not liking Dak, but it's not a question who the best quarterback in this division is.
Okay. That's your opinion. However, on to our next question. Carl, I'll just lead us right in. Who's going to win this division? The Washington football team is. And Fitzpatrick will be up here, and then Dak will be somewhere around the 2 or 3 range in that division.
So you're saying Daniel Jones is better too?
I didn't say no. Team-wise, standings. Based in the standings. I do think Dak's a better quarterback overall, yes, but I don't think it's that big of a gap between the two.
And according to Kelsey, where you finish, like how good your team is completely dependent on your quarterback, i.e. Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. So if the football team finishes ahead of the Cowboys, Fitzpatrick is obviously clearing away the best quarterback in that division.
Cody, you want to tell me where Brady ranks in all-time passing?
No, that's not true, Cody. That's not true because Kelsey says Big Ben sucks and they won the division last year. So it's only when it's not every time.
It's a combination of everything. You just said you went off of eye test only. You don't even look at stats, so I don't know what you're talking about. So the Cowboys are going to win the division. The Washington football team will probably be a wild card. I had them ranked as the 14th best team in the NFL, so that would put them as a wild card. And then the Giants and the Eagles will battle for not being completely irrelevant. Giants hopefully will be, I mean, those two teams, Giants maybe 5-6 wins, Eagles maybe 4 wins.
I don't think the Giants will be an easy out this year. They played good at the end of last year. That coach had some good things going on defense. I mean, Darius Slayton stepped up as a receiver that we didn't really talk about. They had Kenny Galladay. Daniel Jones, this is your last chance, bud. I hope. Because you better step it up a little bit. But I don't think the Giants will be an easy out.
Yeah. So I also have Dallas winning this division. I do see. So yes, that division, as far as standings go, was a complete disaster last year. But at the same time, yes, there were really low win totals, but it was competitive. I mean, the win totals were like 5 and 6 and 4, but that's competitive.
Yeah, so I see 5th and 6th grade YMCA basketball, but that doesn't mean it's good.
So I see it being competitive again. I mean, it's Big Ten basketball, 45-53. Like that's what it is. So I do see Dallas coming out on top. With Dak having a full year, that it's going to equate to some wins. That takes some pressure off of your boy Ezekiel Elliott. But I don't think Washington breaks over that hump just yet and wins that division outright in a non-wonky year. They're going to be close. Like I said, I do think it's competitive between Dallas and Washington. I just think Dallas wins it.
Yeah, I think this is a close division. I just don't think the quarterbacks are close. I think Washington is going to be a solid team this year. I think they probably win 9-10 games this year.
As the only thing I'd be concerned about if I were you guys picking the Cowboys is a lot of people are picking the Cowboys, and we all know what happens when people pick the Cowboys. We all know.
Yeah, I'm not
And
betting
me
my
and
life on
Cody
the
are a
Cowboys
step ahead
winning.
of that thinking. Big
Yeah,
brain.
but
Big brain
brain
time.
work.
It's big brain time.
Washington
picking
football team has
Washington led
had
by
one of the
Fitzpatrick.
saddest franchises over the last 30 years, though. So
If
but-
Washington does win the division, it'll be the first time in 16 years that there's been a back-to-back winner in this division.
Yeah,
That's
it's
kind of a
something like
crazy
that.
stat.
It's crazy. Has Fitzpatrick ever even started a playoff game? I'm
Yeah.
being serious. I'm not trying to troll. I'm being serious.
Yeah.
I mean, you can only imagine how good he'll be in that situation.
All he
who did he
needs is
start
a
a
dream
playoff
and a
game for?
chance, baby.
Who did he start a playoff game for?
you can
I don't
shit
know
in
that he
one hand
has.
and wish in the
He
other, too.
hasn't, I don't think. He's been in the league for 15 years and hasn't started a playoff game.
Because all he
Oh,
does is make horrible teams really good. Like,
No, he
Until
doesn't.
the end of October, and then they go to shit again.
What?
No,
He
okay.
hasn't played in the playoffs. How's he made a
You guys are
really good?
slightly right about that, but has the guy ever really actually had a solid chance? Like said, hey, this is your team. Has that ever happened? in his
Tampa Bay
career?
was willing to give him that chance, and then he threw 5 interceptions, and they had to put
I
Winston
think-
back in.
I think that Buffalo, his first stint was planning on him being the starter at one time, and he blew it.
so I'll
If
go
you
into
don't
my
play
division
well-
standings. I have the football team winning. I think their defense is just too good. They've got the best defense in the league, the best quarterback in the league, or in the division, the best wide receiver in the division. So I take the football team. Dallas, I want to say talent-wise, Dallas is fighting for a wild card spot, but we all know how this division and Dallas in general is. And then the Giants and Eagles are, who knows what they're going to do. Saquon can probably win 4 to 5 games by himself, just hauling the entire defense to the goal line by himself. But outside of that, he doesn't have much help. And the Eagles are, who knows?
I really don't see whoever comes in second in the NFC East, whoever it is, I don't see them having a chance at a wild card. In the scope of the NFC, I don't see that happening.
I don't know. I think because they have two teams at the bottom of that division don't get me wrong, that division, it doesn't matter how bad the teams are. Those games are always close. There's a lot of rivalry in that division. Those games are always close. But theoretically, I think that the Giants and the Eagles are about as close to 4 wins as you should have on a schedule. So I think that theoretically, that division, the team should have a good chance of making the playoffs.
I mean,
don't know.
the Vegas win losses are Dallas 9.5, Washington 8, Giants 7, Eagles 6.5, and like if that
Surprised the
breakdown is
Eagles
true,
are that high.
if that breakdown is true, regardless of which team ends up where, 8 and 9 is not going to get you a wild card spot this year.
With 7 teams, it might. We're in a new time. 7 teams.
But I don't think a sub 500 team gets a wild card
There's
spot.
also an extra game, so it's 8 wins is 1 less win than it was last year. So
8 wins is 1 less win than 9.
no, 8 and 8 is 8 and 9 this year.
I know.
So
a couple fun stats real quick. While I'm looking for Fitzpatrick's playoff stats, and Google must be broken.
Well, it was
'cause
great to have
nothing's-
you guys back with us on the 4th and 30 podcast this week.
For some reason, Google must be broken because nothing's coming up for Fitzpatrick's playoff stats. I'm sure he's thrown for 500 yards a couple of times, but
he's actually never played in the playoffs.
He's probably got 4,000 passing yards. Like
He's
Tom
just
Brady
never
does
been
in the
given a
Super Bowl.
chance. But this year is his chance. He's got a great
Coach
defense.
never played him.
Fitzpatrick
Good wide
has 1 reception in his 16 years for -3 yards, and he's got 8 solo tackles.
I would have thought
That
he
is
had
not a
more.
good stat for a quarterback.
That's a lot of interceptions that he had to make tackles on.
He is. Hey, you got to give the man credit. He is willing to make that tackle.
He does know how to
Has
wrap
a lot
up.
of experience
would
having to
not
do
be-
it.
Dak Prescott would get out of the way.
I mean, when you have that many chances to make that many tackles,
Yeah,
you're
we
gonna...
get it, Carl. We got it.
All right. So that's going to wrap it up for the Eastern divisions in the NFL this week. We're going to be hitting with yous as we get closer. This 35 days and some change until opening day kickoff. So we're excited for that. But as always, like and subscribe, whether you're on YouTube. I think you can throw us follows, or there's something new about Spotify now.
You can follow.
Yeah, you can. There's follows, and there's something else on Spotify now too. You can share stories on Spotify now. Anyway, might be getting into some of that maybe. But definitely, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, those are where we're the most active. That's where we like to see you. Get in the comments, who do you think the best quarterback in the NFC East is? Bill Belichick, or was it Brady? You can weigh in on that. And do you think that I'm going to owe these guys a beer at the end of the season for the New York Jets? So go ahead and answer one of those questions for us. We appreciate you guys listening. And as always, be good out there and tell your grandma.